And we're fucking live. I don't know if I should come and say it fucking, but this is the Secret Society of Suplexes, the Secret Suplex Society. It is.
That's us. That's what we do. We tell secrets and we suplex people.
The secrets of today that aren't so secret because it's been leaked. Oh, not leaked, but one Stephanie, I think it's pronounced Vaquer, is heading to WWE/NXT, presumably. And Maximum Male Models, Mansoor and
Mason Madden
are heading to AEW/Ring of Honor. And these have had two contradictory reactions that I want to talk about because the AEW side is super mad. Well, not super mad, but there's some that are like, man, I don't want her to go there. She could get wasted. Da, 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 da. How dare she? Tony Khan, you fumbled the bag once again. And then, like, no one's really upset that Mason Mansoor are going to AEW/Ring of Honor. They're super talented. They're super fun to watch. Someone should be jealous that they're not getting them. But what are your thoughts on Stephanie Vaquer going to WWE?
So I got to be real. Until they announced who Mercedes' opponent was for Forbidden Door, I wasn't up on my Stephanie Vaquer game.
Neither was WWE.
That's fine. I went out and I did my research, probably unlike them. They just wanted to steal somebody from the other side. Oops, did I say that? But I got up on my game, and she's a good worker. She's really solid. I think that it'll be another situation like it was with Gorillas of Destiny and Jacob Fatu, where like the fans won't actually know who she is, but when she debuts, they're gonna fucking explode.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how you feel about the move? I know you're a very opinionated fellow.
I think. And I think I have to be frank because it explains the way I feel, what I feel. WWE is not the work rate company. It's just not. Between the two biggest companies in America, possibly the globe, it's just not the work rate company. And Stephanie is a work rate wrestler. People were super hyped about Kyrie going back to WWE. She is kind of there, and she's kind of doing things. Now, NXT is a little bit of a different story. It seems like they're trying to go back to old ways and put on more work rate matches. Something I want to talk about is the interesting title win by Ethan Page, a former AEW star. He, a lot of people would say he was fumbled, but Ethan Page, he's very much a promo man. And he did not get the promo time in AEW. Now there's only so much TV time, and it's hard to get mad at either company. They're going to pick their stars. They're going to pick who gets TV time, and sometimes it's not your guy. But he's over there proving why they may have missed a beat when it comes to Ethan Page. But do you think that this is Triple H and Shawn Michaels kind of showing the other side, kind of like they did with Cody, like, hey, if you come over here, we promise it's going to be nice. Does it seem like a move like that to you?
Yeah, a little bit, because, like, Ego's been there for 4 to 6 weeks, whatever it is, and he's already world champion.
Yeah.
Shawn Spears came back. They immediately put him in the title picture. Was he ever going to win it? Probably not, because he is older, and it is what it is. But yeah, this is absolutely a pissing contest. Like, hey, we can pay you like a little less money than he's going to, but like we're going to be able to put you in front of millions and millions of people on every fucking social media platform there is.
Right, absolutely. And then I know we're getting a little off track here, but it's so funny watching the Rascals just showed up in NXT. Joe Hendry just showed up in NXT. And it's so funny because, like, their treatment is so much better in NXT than it is in TNA, and that's their home company. And, like, these guys are presented as stars in NXT and not so much in TNA. If we were to throw up a clip of babies crying in the background.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I just feel like TNA... what I was saying was, if you throw up a clip of Joe Hendry in TNA, it's not going to get as many views as Joe Hendry in NXT. And it's this weird contradiction. I how do you feel about the TNA and NXT partnership slash WWE?
NXT.
Yeah.
So it was. I think there were good intentions. I really do. They were trying to get out of that we're not going to work with anybody else because we're better than everybody else mindset. And I think that's a good thing for the wrestling business overall. Do I think it has helped TNA at all? Zero. Absolutely not, because NXT has not sent any of their top stars over.
Right.
TNA, however, has sent Joe Hendry, who is, as far as TNA goes, he's a name. They've sent the Rascals, who, as far as TNA goes, are names.
Yeah.
And Zachary Wentz was already in NXT once, so the people already kind of knew who he was.
Right.
Even people who aren't necessarily like top guys anymore, but like they sent Frankie Kazarian for the Battle Royal a couple weeks ago. So were there good intentions? Yes. Is it being executed properly? I don't think so.
No, not at all. It's very reminiscent of AEW and TNA's partnership, where it was like, well, even then, you could even argue it was better because at least Kenny showed up in the Impact Zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We haven't seen Trick show up in the Impact Zone. Ethan Page is more of a chance because of the TNA tie, but even then, I'm not even sure if he will. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But back to Stephanie Vaquer. What do you think her ceiling is in NXT WWE? Does she start in NXT main roster? Where do you see her going, and how does that play out?
It's really hard to tell because it's not the same as it was 10 years ago, where it was like if you got signed off the indies, you went through developmental first to learn how TV worked and to learn how the formatting and everything worked for Raw and SmackDown.
Right.
She's TV ready for sure. Is she WWE Universe TV ready? Absolutely not. Because that's a whole different, you have to be a different breed of professional wrestler to be like that ready right off rip. Very few guys have ever probably been able to do that. Right. But I mean, if they treat her right and they like the fans take to her, I think her ceiling could be very high. She could have a banger with Rhea. She could have a banger with Bayley, Bianca, Charlotte, Asuka, any of those women. She could have a fire match with. So, and I think that's another thing is like now WWE, like they still do the storytelling, a lot of storytelling, but I think that Triple H is trying to focus more on the overall like match quality as well, especially for the PLEs, because like some of the PLEs that have been under the Triple H umbrella have been fucking bangers, and like you can't argue that. Like France was fucking wild. Now that was partly due to the crowd, right? But like every match was a good match. So I think that everybody right now, because I'm trying to be Switzerland and I'm trying to be neutral because I don't want to get the E-drones in a tizzy and I don't want to get the AEW marks in a fucking tizzy. So like everybody's on the up and up right now.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, go ahead.
I do think that for her name where it's at now, like her name value, I think it does better serve an AEW.
Yeah, absolutely. But to your point of Triple H having better matches, the bar was in hell with Vince McMahon, brother. So it's not hard. It's not hard. I have my opinions on the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. I think it might be the weakest pay-per-view of the year for the WWE, to be honest.
So far, absolutely. I agree. It wasn't great. There was one good match, and it was the women's Money in the Bank, and even then, there were some things that happened that were like,
Yeah. As far as Stephanie Vaquer goes, in my opinion, I think she'll do great in NXT. Going to the main roster is always a gamble for anyone because if you don't get that reaction they want day one, you could be setting and catering for the rest of your contract. So I mean, I wish and hope her nothing but the best. The other thing is people are like, oh, she should have stayed in CMLL. I mean, I know nothing personally of that company, but I would like to think and imagine AEW and WWE are probably handing out bigger contracts as far as the price goes. So, yeah. But let's talk a little bit about Maximum Male Models. Mansoor and Mason. Where do you think this goes, and what can it lead to?
So I don't think that either the major North American companies, WWE or AEW, I don't really think either one of them need to sign any more people because both rosters are so bloated already.
Right.
It is very reminiscent of a late 90s WCW roster where like we have to have all of these people under contract for seemingly no reason because there's so many people who don't like they get under contract and then they may never see TV. There were a lot of
Right.
people under contract for like pandemic stuff that only wrestled on Dark and Elevation.
Right.
But I love Maximum Male Models. They are hilarious.
Yeah.
They're good workers, both of them. They found a gimmick that they can make work and that works for them. We saw them at Squared Circle and they wrestled Dan the Dad and Effie.
So good.
And it was hilarious.
So entertaining. Yeah.
After Mansoor's fucking little Twitter beef with one Max Caster today, I fully believe this leads to a Maximum Male Models versus Acclaimed.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them win the ROH World Tag Titles. That would be cool.
That'd be amazing.
Them versus Taven and Bennett would be a fucking banger.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I feel like they could have done with merch sales and stuff like that. They could have done well enough on the indies that it wouldn't have been like detrimental for them to not sign with a major company.
I feel like with those two guys, as far as that point goes with the indies, I think they're both just TV guys, like I imagine, and this is going just all speculation, but they're made for TV guys, so I think getting in front of a camera. They also would have been great in TNA, mind you.
For sure.
I think they would have thrived there, but AEW, it's a very wrestling-centric company, and I think a tag team like that could definitely stand out. I think with the Acclaimed maybe not being as over as they once was, and crowds kind of growing tired of them to an extent, Maximum Male Models is a great tag team to slide in that entertainment spot and really just tear it up. I'm super excited for that. As far as the Ring of Honor side of things goes, man, it's just tough because I don't want to pay for streaming if it's just Ring of Honor. I love Ring of Honor. I love past Ring of Honor. I don't have the money to get another streaming service right now.
Not at all.
So part of me is like, I want to check it out, but so that makes me want Maximum Male Models on the main roster, so I'll actually get a chance to look at them a bit more. But that's a longer video we can do at another date, as well as I want to bring back to your point of rosters being bloated. There is room for a third brand to really sprout up. I don't think it's TNA, unfortunately. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, just as far as numbers go. Like I said, people love Joe Henry, but they only care about him when he's in NXT. So we need a third brand that can kind of hold their own a little bit more. Something like GCW would be amazing. DPW is great as well. I don't know who that would,
dude.
I don't know who that would be. Get your hogs wet, brother. I just think it's time. The wrestling world needs a third big company, or maybe the indies as a whole is just the third big company, because a lot of people go there. Cardona has said many times he's made the most money of his career doing what he does now. But that's as far as we're going to go with signing newses. There's still some big contracts coming up this year. Do you have any predictions? Do you think any jumps are going to happen as far as those go?
By the end of the year?
Yeah. I think all of New Day is up. I probably resigning, right?
Possibly Ricky Starks.
Yeah, I can see that. Hook, I believe, as well.
Hook could possibly
going to NXT.
Could possibly be another one. God, I don't know. Just
it'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we'll keep our ears to the streets.
The last 4 years in wrestling have been the craziest they've ever been. So I try to not think that something amazing can't happen, because Punk came back to wrestling, then he went to WWE. Vince got fucking canceled and then hired back and then canceled again. So anything can happen. But that is it from the Secret Boys, and it is a secret, so don't tell anyone that you saw this. This was just between me and you, right here.
Just
And
us.
we'll see you on the next
on the
sequel.
next one.
Bye. Short and sweet, brother.
It's still going.
Short and sweet.
It's short
Oh.
and sweet. It's still going.
I have to double click in recording.